Hey guys, what is up? It is Liam Chase, it's Liam Chase, and welcome back to a brand new video. If you are new to my channel, my name is Liam, and I am female to male. I am a trans guy, and today is another discussion video, a little sit down talk, because I'm slowly answering the questions that you guys ask me, and the question today is being trans in Dubai. A lot of you know that I lived in Dubai for quite a few years, and I slowly came out being myself in Dubai, so I'm gonna give you the tea about that. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into the video. Alright guys, so there is a lot of controversy about the LGBTQIA plus community in the United Arab Emirates. I was honored to live in two of the Emirates, actually. Well, technically three, I guess you can say. I lived in Sharjah, and I lived in Ajman, or at the border of Sharjah and Ajman, and I lived in Dubai, which is what the United Arab Emirates is known for, aka the UAE. So I get asked this question as a trans guy: how did you do it? Why, weren't you scared of coming out being trans? And honestly guys, I felt safe in the UAE. Despite a lot of things that people say about living in the Middle East or being in the Middle East, I felt extremely safe in the UAE. I had no issue. I could go at any time of day or night and I could just do me. I could walk the streets and I was safe. Bear in mind, at the time that I lived in the United Arab Emirates, I was like in high school and I was female. So as a woman in society, being in the Middle East at that time, I felt extremely safe. And I mean, obviously guys will be guys. I'm not saying or condoning that some behavior is okay, but guys are guys, and it doesn't matter what country you are at. Guys are gonna flirt, guys are gonna holler at you. Just some guys are very ballsy and will let you know if they're attracted to you, and that is with any country, which I'll probably talk about more on in a different video. I just want to really talk to you guys about the LGBTQIA plus community in the UAE, because there's a lot of stuff going on. And as someone who has personally lived in the UAE for quite a few years, I speak the language. I know a lot of people in the UAE, and I'm still connected with a lot of my friends that I had in high school and when I lived over in the UAE. And even though it is an Islamic country and a Muslim country, the UAE is very open-minded. And if you are religious, if you read the Bible or the Quran actually has nothing against trans people. And if you go into further in history, before the Quran in ancient Egypt, during the ancient Egyptian times, you see that one of the early pharaohs, Hatshepsut, not sure if I'm pronouncing that wrong or correctly, was actually a trans pharaoh, which I will probably talk about that in another video. But what I want more to say, the Quran is not against trans people. People are against trans people. I really believe that religion is not against the LGBT community. I believe it's people that are implementing things or that are misleading society. Society, as humans, we crave something to believe in. We crave something to follow or believe in, and I think there's a lot of misconception about the LGBTQI plus community and the trans community. I do believe that not everyone understands fully, and I believe that's why there is so much friction and why people are against it. But living in the UAE as a trans person, bear in mind, I wasn't fully out at the time. I mean, I was out, don't get me wrong, I was out socially, I guess you can say. I kind of lived my Hannah Montana life, I guess you can say. I had short hair, I wore a lot of wigs, because at the time my mother was very religious and Christian and kind of a Bible thumper, was very active in the church. And the church that I was in, they didn't really like me, I feel, because I was white. And the church that I went to was a lot of people that were from the Philippines and from India, and I feel like they were just anyway judging me because I was white and Canadian. And being over in that culture, they don't really know anything about North American culture, let alone like Canada. They just go off what they see in the movies, and basically if they saw that I was white, they thought I was a thought. It's just how it is. But anyway, I'm getting getting ahead of myself. So I kind of had my Hannah Montana life. I was one way when I was with church because I felt scared and I felt like I couldn't really be myself. And I felt at the time, I mean, things have changed, but at the time I felt like I had to please my mom and be that kind of girly daughter, I guess you could say. I thought that I had to be a certain way to make her happy. Obviously that's not the case, but at the time, like, this is when I was a teenager, like early getting into my early adulthood, this is what was going on in my mind. So I felt like if I got into modeling, if I did certain things, you know, that would make my mom happy and kind of get her, like, deroute her from what was actually going on with me, because I didn't really like to discuss how I was feeling. I do remember there was a few times that I've tried voicing things and it was just shut down. So I just felt during those times I could not really fully come out to my mom. However, I did have a circle of friends that I came out to, and I had the most amazing support, and they were just so awesome. I remember I was area manager at American Eagle at the time, and I was very close to my store manager and the other assistant store manager that I was working with, and we were just really close friends. We used to go to the bar quite often, and we do different things after work. We just had such a great connection. So Jovix and Sam, if you're watching this, shout out to you guys. You guys are the real GOAT, the real MVP. You guys were truly amazing. And even as a store manager for that clothing brand, I came out to all of my staff because I thought that was just something that I had to do, because obviously things were changing. I didn't want to be fake with the people I work with, because those are the people that I spent most of the time with, and I didn't want them to think that I was not being, like, I didn't want them to think that I was fake or putting on this mask, you know, when I'm telling them. Like, I wanted to set an example for people to have the freedom to express who they are and to really represent the brand that we are working for. So I came out to my staff. I remember we had this big staff meeting. Samantha was there, which was the main store manager, myself, and Jovix, which were the assistant store managers. She did the women's department and I was the men's department. So it worked out. But we had this really big meeting, and I remember I couldn't really get out the words. I went to the washroom, and Samantha and Jovix, they kind of spilled the tea to everyone, and they did have questions, but it was such a great experience. They were very supportive. All my staff were very supportive. I had people from Kenya, China, and Ethiopia, and Philippines, and India, and Lebanon, and Palestine, and Jordan, and it was just such a warm welcoming, and they were so supportive. A lot of people, they pitched in to get me, you know, binders and things to make me feel more comfortable, and it was just such an incredible experience. And I really didn't want to leave that job. I honestly didn't want to leave the UAE, but I was looking into things, and it was just, I felt at that time I didn't have any other choice other than return back home to Canada, which is my country. And I had a few altercations, and not really altercations, but at that time, I just felt like I couldn't really be who I was. I felt like I had to please everyone else, and I couldn't really be myself, and I was getting frustrated. So I mean, if I could go back in time and change how I did things initially, I definitely would have changed a few things. I kind of left abruptly without telling anyone. I didn't even tell my mom until I was like in Paris, just because I was kind of scared to tell her. I know I was like 23 when I finally put my foot down and said I can't do this anymore. I can't live like 3 different lives trying to make everyone happy when I'm the one suffering in the end. And so I returned back home to Canada, and I just started hormonal therapy and just really focusing on me and my journey and my transition. Has my transition been easy? No, it hasn't. Did I lose a lot of friends? Yes, I have. Throughout the years, I have. And especially moving from being in the Middle East for quite a few years and returning back to Canada was, as well as like a culture shock for me, because the last time I was in Canada I was like an adolescent, and returning as an adult was different. I was very naive to a lot of different things because of the culture difference. I got used to being in like an Arab community and environment. But anyway, fast forward now. I know there's a lot of people that say trans people can't go to Dubai. It's all lies. It's all farce. I know there was a thing with Gigi Gorgeous that she got detained in the airport a couple of years ago, and that she was not allowed in the country. And that's just like with anything. Before you travel to a country, you need to do your research. You need to look into the laws and the regulations of that country. Doesn't mean that you need to agree with it, but if you are wanting to travel, you need to look into the laws of the country. And they're not just targeting trans people. I mean, it's a Muslim country, so you gotta respect that even if you don't agree with it. I have stories of some stuff that I've gone through living there, because especially when I first moved there, I was kind of oblivious to all the laws, even though some of it was kind of stupid to me. But again, it's their country, it's their religion, there's no argument there. Even cis people, straight couples, have issues in the UAE, because UAE is very strong and firm believer in modesty. So if you are married, you can't do your dirty business in public. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's been a lot of people that have been thrown into jail for not following this law. I know in Sharjah, guys can't be fully blinged out because, again, it goes into their religion, the religious belief, and their culture, that the women are to wear the jewelry and kind of be to show their beauty. Again, you don't have to agree with it. So my advice, if you are under the umbrella of the LGBTQIA plus community, just do your research. And if you are just being yourself and not making it obvious that you are within that community, then you're not going to have any issues. I would never had any issues in any of my travels being under the LGBTQI plus community, and I've been to quite a few different countries. Like I said, I've never had any issues in the UAE. I've been to Kuwait. I never had any issues there. I've been to Qatar, Yemen, never had any issues, and I never had issues as a trans person, or anyone under like identifying with the LGBT community. Even when I was in Egypt, I never had any issues. So it's just, you need to do your research and respect the laws of other countries, and that's the best advice that I can give you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy this little sit down video. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for tomorrow's video, and it's going to be exciting. So make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time that I upload, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.